Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening, and welcome to Messages from the Universe. Recently, in my meditation, as I often ask my teachers and healers and wisdom keepers of the universe what they want me to talk about, suddenly I heard the 5 eclipses of 2027. At that moment, I didn't even realize that there were 5 eclipses queuing up for 2027. But my questions turned to, we're in the middle of 2026. It's June here, going into July, going into the middle of summer. Why should we be talking about 2027 and not focusing on the impacts of the energy that we have yet in 2026? Well, as we gather here in the middle of 2026, it may seem unusual to be discussing eclipses that will not occur until next year. After all, we've not yet reached the powerful eclipse season of September of this year, 2026. So why are we looking ahead? Well, because energy never begins when an event occurs. Energy arrives first. The physical manifestations follow. And one of the greatest misunderstandings about astrology is the belief that eclipses, planetary alignments, and major cosmic events suddenly arrive on a specific date and immediately change everything. But in reality, the universe rarely works that way. Long before a seed breaks through the soil, an entire process has already begun beneath the surface. The same is true with energetic cycles. By the time an eclipse arrives, the field surrounding it has often been organizing itself for months and sometimes years. So that's why the 5 eclipses of 2027 matter now. And I get it, why Spirit is wanting me to begin to talk about it now. We're currently living through one of the most significant transition periods of our lifetime. During 2026, humanity entered an entirely new energetic chapter. Saturn moved into Aries. Neptune entered Aries. The March eclipse season activated Pisces and Virgo themes of spirituality, awakening, and practical healing. Now, Uranus is preparing to complete its long journey through Taurus and entering into Gemini. And numerologically, 2026 is a universal year of 1, representing beginning of a completely new 9-year cycle. So taken individually, each of these shifts is really important. But together, they signal the opening of a new era, and many people can already feel it. There's a growing sense that old structures are no longer holding, relationships are changing, careers are shifting, long-held identities are simply dissolving, belief systems are being questioned, and new opportunities are appearing while familiar paths just seem to be fading away. And some people feel excited and others feel uncertain and others yet can be in fear. Many feel both at the same time, excited and uncertain. The collective stands between what was and what will be. So the question is no longer whether change is happening. The question is where all of this is leading. This is why we're looking towards 2027. And the 5 eclipses and why they matter. Most years contain 4 eclipses, and we call them eclipse season, and occasionally there are 5. Astronomically, 2027 includes 5. February 6th, an annular solar eclipse, February 20th and 21st, which is penumbral lunar eclipse, July 18th and 19th, which is a penumbral lunar eclipse, August 2nd, a total solar eclipse, and then August 16th and 17th, a penumbral lunar eclipse. And I'll dive into more of these in details as we go. And while not extraordinarily rare, 5 eclipses, a 5 eclipse year often creates a sense of accelerated movement because collectively is repeated. It's brought to the points of adjustment, revelation, and redirection. Eclipses move things. They clear the path. They accelerate things. Now, NASA and astronomical observatories notes that the July eclipse is particularly subtle, one of the slightest penumbral eclipses of the century. Yet, from a symbolic perspective, even the quietest eclipses can act as turning points. So what makes 2027 significant? It's not simply the number of eclipses, but where they occur within the larger evolutionary story that's already underway. The major planetary shifts of 2026 actually open a new energetic landscape, and that's what makes these so powerful. The eclipses of 2027 appear to function as checkpoints within that unfolding journey. If 2026 is the year humanity receives the blueprint, 2027 becomes the year we begin to construct the building. If 2026 awakens possibilities, then 2027 asks for our participation. And if 2026 reveals a vision, well, 2027 asks us to embody it. The spiritual journey of the 5 eclipses is when we view them all together. The eclipses form this fascinating progression. The eclipses of 2026 fall in Aquarius, Virgo, Capricorn, Leo, and then Aquarius again. So when we look at the entire system and we look at the pattern, we get to see how the energy is going to influence us. So Aquarius opens the year by introducing future possibilities, awakening, innovation, and collective evolution. The second eclipse in Virgo follows by asking how those insights that we just saw can be grounded into practical reality. That's followed by the eclipse in Capricorn, which examines the structures we rely upon and reveals what's no longer sustainable. So it pushes us to create new or better or different. And then the following eclipse is in Leo, and that reignites the heart, our passion, our creativity, including leadership and courage and authentic self-expression. That's important in the midst of change. And lastly, Aquarius, well, that returns once more asking how individual gifts can now serve the greater good. So when I look at this progression over these 5 eclipses, it really mirrors the soul's evolution or the soul's journey. First we awaken, then we heal, then we mature, then we express, and finally we contribute. So the universe appears to be asking humanity to this series of profound questions. How do we evolve collectively while still honoring individuality? How do we bring spiritual insight into everyday living and everyday life? And what system and structures are ready to be rebuilt? And how do we lead from our hearts while remaining responsible to the whole? And lastly, how do we stop hiding ourselves, including how do we stop hiding our gifts and begin to use them in service to something larger than ourselves? The 5 eclipses of 2027 move us through these questions step by step. And for that reason, Spirit was telling me to view 2027 less as a year of upheaval and more as a year of integration. But the dramatic opening begins this year in 2026. The eclipses of 2027 teach us how to live inside the world those changes create. So let's start by that first eclipse, which is February 6, 2027. By the way, at the end of this podcast, I'm going to go through each sign and how these eclipses will impact you from a standpoint of 2026 as well as 2027. But for now, let's talk about the eclipses as individual eclipses. So February 6, 2027, the annular solar eclipse in Aquarius. So solar, that's the sun. That's awakening the future. The first eclipse of the year arrives as this annular solar eclipse in Aquarius. The solar eclipse represents beginnings, resets, new trajectories. They often open doors that did not previously exist. And Aquarius governs innovation, awakening, humanitarian ideals, technology, future vision, and collective evolution. It's also collaboration. This eclipse, to me, feels like the first major reset point of the year, and it happens early, February 6th of 2027. This can throw us into new future timelines may emerge. New communities may form. New technologies and social movements may gain fast momentum. Many individuals may feel called to detach from those outdated expectations and move towards a more authentic expression of who they truly are. And Aquarius often brings disruption, but not disruption for its own sake. Its purpose is liberation, and its message is simply this: become who you were meant to be, not who you were taught to be. This eclipse brings sudden realizations that permanently alter how we see ourselves and the world around us. Now, that February 6th eclipse is followed by the penumbral lunar eclipse in Virgo on February 20th, 21st. The lunar is the mother energy, bringing this vision into form. The lunar eclipses often highlight or cast light upon our pathway or the things that are changing. So this is just 2 weeks after the solar eclipse. The energy shifts dramatically, where Aquarius opens the mind. Now here in Virgo asks for implementation. Virgo governs healing, purification, daily routines, organization, health, service, and refinement. So this eclipse, February 21st of 2027, asks us, how will this awakening actually be lived? What needs healing? What needs simplifying? What needs organizing? What needs to be released because it no longer supports the future that you're creating? So Virgo often reveals where systems have become inefficient or unsustainable, equally highlighting because it's the full moon showing us where we form new systems. And these systems might involve health habits, work environments, relationships, routines, or responsibilities that just need to change to accommodate where we are. So together, the February eclipses create this powerful sequence: vision followed by correction, inspiration followed by refinement, and awakening followed by embodiment. Spiritually, Virgo reminds us that enlightenment is not simply an experience. It's a practice. Now we jump ahead to July 18th and 19th of 2027. That's almost a year away. This is the penumbral lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Again, the moon. The structured test is the middle of the year introduces a quieter but highly significant turning point. Astronomically, this eclipse is incredibly subtle. Energetically, it might not be so subtle because Capricorn governs leadership, responsibility, authority, institutions, career, legacy, and long-term structure. It's the workhorse of the zodiac signs. This eclipse may reveal where foundations have weakened. It may expose systems that can no longer support future growth. For some, this may involve career transitions. For others, leadership roles may change. Collectively, institutions and structures may undergo revolution and re-evaluation. Capricorn asks one profound question: what are you building that will last? Not something temporary, something that's going to live with you for a duration of time. This eclipse may not create dramatic external events. Instead, it may reveal what is quietly completing itself beneath the surface. And sometimes the most important endings arrive as whispers rather than storms. I want to jump ahead to August 2nd of 2027. This is a total solar eclipse in Leo. This is a sun. This is pushing us to have the courage to shine and shine bright. The most powerful eclipse of the year arrives on August 2nd, and that's that total solar eclipse right before the Lion's Gate. Total solar eclipses often function as a complete reset point. Something ends, but something also begins, and the path forward can look dramatically different afterward. Leo governs the heart, creativity, joy, leadership, visibility, courage, children, and authentic self-expression. So this eclipse will ask, will you allow yourself to be seen? Will you allow yourself to lead? Will you allow yourself to create? And will you allow yourself to shine? Many people have spent years suppressing their gifts in order to fit into expectations that were created by others, by someone else. But Leo reminds us that the soul did not come here to hide. It came here to radiate. And if the Capricorn eclipse examines responsibility and structure, that was back in July, this August eclipse in Leo, the solar, it ignites passion and purpose. Leadership is no longer merely about discipline. Leadership becomes an act of heart-centered authenticity. Now, we finish August 16th and 17th of 2027 with the penumbral lunar eclipse in Aquarius. And that contribution and has a collective purpose. It's the final eclipse and it returns to us in Aquarius. And the question that this eclipse will ask is where the year began with the question, what future do you wish to create? This Aquarius at the end of the year in August asks, how will you contribute to that? This eclipse creates a powerful Leo-Aquarius polarity. Personal radiance means collective service. Individual gifts meet collective responsibility. And self-expression meets shared evolution. So for healers and teachers and visionaries, creatives and entrepreneurs and leaders, this may be one of the most significant themes of the entire year. That message is clear. Do not hide your light, but do not use it only for yourself. The gifts you carry were never intended solely for personal success. They're meant to contribute to something larger. And this may be the time the universe is asking you to step out and discover what that is. I think the deeper message of the 2027 eclipse cycle is that looking at this entire sequence, it creates this symbolic journey. First, awakening with vision. That's the Aquarius. Virgo comes in and refines it. Capricorn tests its structure, whether it's a livable, workable structure. And then Leo ignites some personal courage. And Aquarius follows and returns us to align the individual with the collective path. This is not simply a year of sudden transformation. It's a year of integration. The revelations of 2026 begin to take shape in practical ways. People may feel called to align their work, their lifestyle, and their communities with deeper values. Many individuals will move towards careers or projects that feel more meaningful or purpose-driven. Because when 2027 becomes that year where the spiritual and the practical begin to merge, we want to be positioned. So how do you prepare for 2027? Well, you can begin to prepare in 2026. So each zodiac sign may begin to work on things. And while the eclipses themselves occur in 2027, the preparation for these shifts actually began now in 2026. Astrologically, the energy leading into eclipse cycles often signals where adjustments need to start. That's why it feels so uncomfortable. We think the universe is making all these changes to us in this exact instant, but it's slow and steady. So let's go through some themes for each sign, exploring what might show up in 2026 so that the transformations of 2027 can unfold more smoothly for you. All right? Each sign, let's start with Aries. And you might want to listen to your sun and your rising. Sometimes I like to listen to my moon sign also if you know it. But let's start with Aries, preparing for leadership and authentic direction. So for Aries, the planetary movements of 2026 begin activating new cycles of personal identity and leadership. You may feel an increasing urge to redefine your path, particularly regarding career direction or personal goals. So use 2026 to clarify your motivations and release outdated ambitions that no longer reflect who you are becoming. Those things that you do or did just because you did them might not make sense as you go forward. Dreams, things that you say, I'm going to do this someday, are now suddenly someday. So by 2027, the Leo eclipse may call you to step into a more visible role where your creativity and confidence inspires others. Preparation for Aries means aligning action with purpose. Taurus may feel subtle internal shifts during the 2026 year that encourages deeper emotional and spiritual reflection. Patterns tied to security, comfort, or material stability may begin evolving. So the Aquarius and Leo eclipses of 2027 may highlight new social networks or communities that support your growth. Preparing in 2026 means becoming open to change and allowing new possibilities to replace familiar but limiting routines. I would add to that, recognizing what may be limiting and just let them go rather than trying to continue to fix them. And Gemini, this is about expanding your perspective. So for Gemini, 2026 may bring opportunities for learning around travel, philosophical exploration. You may feel drawn to expand your worldview through study, teaching, or communications. And by 2027, the Virgo and Aquarius eclipses may challenge you to redefine how you share knowledge with others. Preparation involves clarifying your message and strengthening your voice. And Cancer, well, this could be a time of emotional transformation and empowerment. Cancer, you may feel a powerful emotional transformation beginning in 2026. Old fears, attachments, or subconscious patterns may surface for healing. That's why they're surfacing. Don't say, not this again, and stuff them back down. This is a time to look at them and let them go. The Leo eclipse of 2027 may encourage you to embrace self-confidence and step beyond the protective boundaries. Preparation involves building emotional resilience and trusting your inner wisdom. And Leo, this is identity renewal for you. So for Leo, the years surrounding 2027 may feel especially significant. With a major solar eclipse occurring in your sign, themes of identity, purpose, and personal expression become central. So during 2026, you may feel prompted to reassess your goals and release roles that no longer align with your authentic self. So by the time the Leo eclipse arrives in August of 2027, you may be ready to step into a completely new chapter. And Virgo, this is about healing and life balance. Virgo's connection to the February 2027 lunar eclipse suggests a period of healing and recalibration. So during 2026, you may begin restructuring your daily routines, your health practices, or work responsibilities. Preparation involves simplifying your life, reducing stress, aligning your schedule with what truly nourishes you physically and spiritually. And Libra, this is about creativity and relationships. Libra may feel a shift in relationship dynamics during 2026. Partnerships, romantic, creative, or professional, may evolve as you clarify your values. And then the Leo eclipse of 2027 may inspire new creative collaborations or a renewed sense of joy and self-expression. Preparing now in 2026 involves strengthening relationships that support mutual growth. And Scorpio, This is about home and roots and inner stability. So for Scorpio in 2026, this might highlight themes related to home and family and your emotional foundations. You may feel a desire to create deeper stability in your personal life. So by 2027, the Capricorn eclipse may bring decisions related to long-term direction. Preparation involves strengthening your inner foundation so that external changes can really unfold smoothly. And Sagittarius, well, this is about communication and learning. Sagittarius, you may feel a surge of curiosity and intellectual expansion during 2026. That includes writing, teaching, or sharing ideas that may become increasingly important. The Aquarius and Virgo eclipses of 2027 may challenge you to balance visionary ideas with practical implementation. Preparation involves focusing your message and organizing your knowledge. And Capricorn, well, you are redefining success. For Capricorn, 2026 may begin a re-examination of your career ambitions and long-term goals. You may feel drawn to redefine what success truly means. The July 2027 eclipse in Capricorn may highlight leadership roles or responsibilities that require new strategies. Preparation involves aligning your work with deeper values rather than external expectations. And Aquarius, well, I think this is personal awakening because Aquarius is strongly connected to the eclipse cycle of 2027. The solar eclipse in your sign may bring profound personal awakening. And during 2026, you may feel called to explore new communities, technologies, or humanitarian interests. Preparation involves embracing your uniqueness and allowing your ideas to influence the world around you. And Pisces, well, for you, this is spiritual integration. For Pisces, 2026 may feel deeply introspective. Dreams, intuition, and spiritual insight may become stronger as you reflect on your life direction. The Virgo eclipse of 2027 may ask you to balance spiritually sensitivity with practical wisdom. Now, the most activated signs of 2026 and 2027 for this eclipse cycle emphasizes the fixed, mutable, and cardinal pattern. The strongest activations, or those hit, I would say the hardest, are Aquarius, Virgo, Capricorn, Leo, and Pisces, because these signs are hosting the eclipses directly. Secondary activations are Aries, Taurus, Scorpio, and Cancer, because these signs form major aspects to the eclipse points. And integration signs are Gemini, Libra, and Sagittarius. Now, I will be talking more about these eclipses and the impacts to all of us as we go into the rest of this year as well as 2027. It's a lot of information coming, and I wanted to just touch base because there's a lot of pressure, a lot of changes that are happening now that we're not seeing why. We're feeling the energy of what's coming, but we're not seeing the patterns just yet. So I'll leave you with maybe these larger messages and the patterns that I'm seeing. The larger message of 2027 might be, and if we follow the pattern of Aquarius, Aquarius says evolve. Virgo says purify, purge, cleanse. Capricorn says mature, grow up, change. Leo says create, shine, and radiate. And then we come back to Aquarius, and when Aquarius returns, it says now contribute. And together, these eclipses form this remarkable journey. It doesn't have to be scary or fearful. It's a journey from awakening to embodiment, from inspiration to action, from individual growth to collective contribution. And that's heavily what the Aquarius energy is. So if 2026 opens the doorway, 2027 asks us to walk through it. I say some of you are going to get shoved through that doorway. If 2026 cracks open the sky, 2027 teaches us how to inhabit this new frequency. Some of us are already feeling this new frequency and we're questioning, what is this? The choices we make during the second half of 2026 helps determine what these eclipses activate within us. So we're not waiting for 2027. We're preparing for it. Every relationship we nurture, every healing we undertake, every fear we release, every dream we finally honor becomes part of the energetic architecture that these eclipses will illuminate. Because the universe is already whispering about the future. And the 5 eclipses of 2027 simply are here to help us understand what it is saying. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.